For the first problem, we will find the derivative of each function. For part A, we're given the function f of x equals 2x squared minus x minus 5. To find the derivative of this function, we will use the power rule. So in this case, f prime of x will be equal to, and doing the power rule, we take the exponent, multiply it by what's in front of the variable, and then take the exponent minus 1. So for 2x squared, we will take the 2, multiply it by the 2 in front, so we'll have 4x. Then we'll take the 2 exponent and minus 1. So it'll be 4x to the 1, or just 4x. Then we'll move on to the negative x. Don't forget your negatives, so we'll do minus x. The derivative of x is technically x to the 1, so we'll take the 1, multiply what's in front, so we'll have 1x. 1 minus 1 is 0. So in this case, anything raised to the 0 is just 1. So your answer here will just be minus 1. And since negative 5 or minus 5 doesn't have a variable attached, there is no derivative of it. It is just 0. So your final answer for part A will be f prime of x equals 4x minus 1. For part B, we will also use the power rule, but we need to do a little manipulation first. So this function, g of x equals 3 over x cubed plus the square root of x, can be rewritten as 3x to the negative 3. That brings the exponent down here in the bottom up, and then to bring it up, we just make the exponent a negative. Then we'll have plus. A square root is also written as the exponent 1/2. So instead of the square root of x, we will have x to the 1/2. Now we can easily do the power rule. So g prime of x will be equal to negative 9x, they'll take the negative 3 times 3, leave your variable, then take the exponent minus 1. So negative 9x to the negative 4th, plus take your exponent, multiply it by what's in front, so we'll have 1/2 x, and then exponent minus 1, so it'll be negative 1/2. And that's your answer to part B. Part C, we will actually use the product rule. And within the product rule, we'll use the power rule. When doing the product rule, we take the derivative of the first, which is this area right here, times just the second, which is this right here, plus the first times the derivative of the second. So just like part B, we need to rewrite a few things before we can move forward. So this can be rewritten as x to the negative 1/2 plus 2x times 2x cubed minus 4x to the 5th. Now we can go ahead and actually find our derivative. So we will have g prime of x equals, and again, to do product rule, it is derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So the derivative of the first is negative 1/2 x minus 3/2. And again, we're just using the power rule from here, plus 2 times the second, 2x cubed minus 4x to the 5th, plus the first times the second. So we just rewrite the first, so we'll have x to the negative 1/2 plus 2x. And I'm running out of room, so I'll just write it below, but we're multiplying it by, just like we did with the first half of this, the derivative of the second, which is 6x squared minus 20x to the fourth. And that'll be your final answer. It's a little lengthy, but we had to first rewrite everything, then do the power rule within doing the product rule. Now we can move on to part D, where we are given the function f of x equals x squared minus 9 divided by x plus 4 times x minus 4. So overall, we have a quotient rule here. And to use the quotient rule, it is low d high minus high d low all over low squared. But as you can see, our low, or our bottom, once we take the derivative of that, we will need to do the product rule. So our answer will be lengthy for this one, but at least there's no manipulation. We can just go straight into it. So f prime of x is equal to, again, we will take the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. The bottom itself is a power rule, and then we will divide it all by the bottom squared. So when we do this all out, derivative of the top is 2x, then you just rewrite the bottom. So x plus 4, x minus 4, minus just the top times the derivative of the bottom. And this itself is a power rule. So we will take the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second, which is written as 1 times x minus 4 plus x plus 4 times 1. And then to finish off the quotient rule, we put it all over the bottom squared. So we will have x plus 4, x minus 4 squared. And that completes parts A through D for part number 1.